there's been a lot of names in the talking of who will be the next fight for Mikkel Kessler. Now it's Brian McGee. Why do you think that that's going to be a good fight?
Well, first of all, there were a lot of names mentioned. I would say half the names were never really possibilities. Some people talked about an Andre Ward fight. Andre Ward just boxed, so that was not an option for us. Brian McGee brings the opportunity to box for the world title. Along with that, it brings a lot of very interesting storylines. The fact that he's beaten the two other big Danish names, Mads Larsen and Rudi Markussen. The fact that he's involved with Mikkel Kessler's former promoter, Morgans Paller. These are all stories which make a promoter's job, of course, a lot easier. But if we move all that to the side, these are two great athletes. Brian McGee is someone who's come on very late in his career and has done the business, like we saw in February against Rudi Markussen, knocking him out. So he's someone we definitely won't underestimate. Mikkel will always be the favourite in fights. We mustn't forget that. He's one of the greats. So it's going to be a very action-packed fight. I think Brian McGee is the type of boxer who will come here wanting to do a technical job. When I say that, he will come to box against Mikkel and look for the chance to unleash his left hook, which is a great shot, which took out Rudi Markussen. And he'll be very confident. At the same time, we'll be very confident too.
And all the stories about revenge for Mikkel after the knockout, after Brian McGee has been beating Mads Larsen and Rudi Markussen. How much is that a question of honor?
Well, I think there's a national team sort of atmosphere around this. It's Brian McGee, as an Irishman, has come here and basically beaten up two Danes, knocked two Danes out, and I think Mikkel does feel some sort of responsibility to restore the pride of Danish boxing, if you like. On the other side, it has also a big storyline in the fact that Mikkel is boxing for the World Championship, something which he knows is there, would be a record. 4 times world champion is something very, very special.
But he's also getting older, and every time it might be his last fight. And people talk about this Carl Froch and this Andre Ward fights coming up. What is if he loses now? Is it his last fight, or is there still a few fights in him?
In boxing, you never say never. But I would say if Mikkel would lose the fight, I think it would be a very difficult future. I don't know whether Mikkel would want to continue boxing. It's a question you have to ask him. I mean, he's, we're happy to promote him, of course, afterwards. But I think that if he would lose, we would sit down and I think it could be the end of the day, yes.
So it's very important, not just to win, but also to win. And, I mean, win in a style and a way that makes sure that he can continue.
Well, I think the question here is just to win. I mean, Brian McGee is a world championship fight. To the people who say, oh, Mikkel's getting older, well, why don't you ask Alan Green how he felt after the 4th round? He just pulled off one of the knockouts that will probably go down as the knockout worldwide of this year. Mikkel has to win. How he wins, to be honest with you, I don't really care. I want him to win and to become world champion. We're in a sport of winning, and December the 8th, that's the time for us to win.
This venue here, Herning and Jyske Bank Boxen, it's not a place with a lot of history because it's very new and it's the first time for a professional boxing fight. What do you see this event as a venue for this fight?
Well, I see it as a great venue. It's a 10,000 plus seater. It's going to be full. It'll be sold out, I think, pretty quickly. And I think it's going to have an atmosphere in here that will raise the roof. I mean, I remember the fights here against Perdomo and against Carl Froch, of course, where the atmosphere was electric, and I'm expecting the same thing here. And it is the first boxing fight in Jyske Bank Boxen, and I think that's it's a credit to them that they got the event here. They gave, they made a real effort, and I think we're very proud to basically christen the arena with boxing. It will be the first event, and I'm sure not the last.